It's time for
It's Fanboy Weekly for all you geeks, nerds, and blurs. Let's get our geek on.
Welcome back to the 5x5. It is really not Fanboy Weekly. Well, it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. The reason I say that because I told you guys I was going to do a lot of comic book fanboy stuff this week, so that's what I'm talking about tonight. So normally we have these on Sunday night, so you'll probably hear one right. Well, of course, right now. And then tomorrow I'll do a live podcast from the actual comic book pop culture convention, and then I'll have a wrap up. Then I'll have a wrap up on Sunday. That'll be our regular Fanboy Weekly show. But today I am talking about what I've been doing. This has been this has been my fanboy weekend. I kicked it off yesterday in a crazy storm that came up yesterday here in the area. Crazy lightning, but I was surprised to see that Captain America, Captain America, the Winter Soldier came out. So there will be spoilers. So everybody who has listened to the show, if you haven't seen the movie, there will be some spoilers. So if you don't want to, you can listen to the half. I want to talk about this maybe for 45 minutes or so, and then you can listen to the second half of this show, when I'll talk about the pop culture comic book convention that I attended today. That I went to today. I attended today. So we have a lot of things to talk about, but I didn't know yesterday. I was kind of loud because Thursdays are my Sundays. Well, Sundays because I go to work on Friday, which has been my Monday, which is Friday today. And so I'm like, I want to do something today. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. It was kind of it was just kind of a boring day. I didn't really do anything. Kind of lounged around, watched television, chilled, ate, stuff you do when you have a day off and you don't really want to do anything because the weather is not nice. And so I'm looking around, and then I'm looking because I'm looking for time, because I know at one point during the weekend I was going to go see Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and I'm looking around for the times for my AMC, and then it had the time today. This is yesterday evening, as Thursday evening, 8:00. I'm like, oh, that must be for sometime this on Friday, because that's when April 4th was the day it was coming out. And I'm like, that's weird. And so I put a couple messages out with people on Facebook, and nobody knew. Of course, my friends. I need more. Everybody needs to move to Southern Indiana that's a geek or a nerd, because I don't really have any nerd friends to hang out with here. I don't have any that want to hang out and do, except for my niece and my nephew. And it was too late for my nephew because he had to be in bed because he's only 11, and then my niece, she had to be at work early. So I'm like, you guys suck. Because then I called AMC. I'm like, are y'all really playing Captain America Day? It's like coming out tomorrow. She's like, no, this is like a kind of an advanced showing. We do that now. I'm like, oh, okay. So Captain America happens to be one of the few, because I didn't even see the first one, Captain America, the first Avenger movie. I watched that. I got it on Redbox. I didn't even watch it when it was new in the theaters, and so I was like, so it's one of those movies that I happened to see on opening weekend. Avengers is one. Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man number 2 are in that group. Dreamgirls, I seen that on Christmas Day, opening day. It opened on Christmas in 2007 or 8. and which is really good. If you haven't seen Dreamgirls, check it out. What else? I've seen something else on opening day. There's something else. I started a blog that I'm not finished because it got really. I can be really. I'm sorry if you guys ever go to my blog. Sometimes they're really short and sweet to the point because I don't want somebody to. Because people don't want to read. To me, I don't think people want to read a whole bunch of nonsense. But I was wrong because some people do. But I can get a little wordy at times. So I'm like, okay, you need to. Bring that time on down a little bit because I don't want to read that much. But it was so much that it was writing for 2 days. I'm still not finished because I'm not finished with the review, but I'm gonna talk about it tonight, and then I'll finish the review sometime tonight. But here, Dreamgirls, The Avengers. This is part of my blog. If you go to the blurredhq.blogspot.com, it should be on there tomorrow. It should be on there sometime tomorrow. The full written review, and then of course this podcast will be on there as well. Spider-Man 1 and 2. And X-Men Last Stand, and I'm sure there's others, but if you can tell, they are mostly comic book themed movies that I've seen on opening day. I remember when I seen X-Men Last Stand, which I was totally mad. I was pissed off when I left the theater. I was living in Atlanta, and I went to the Regal. In something station. It's not Union Station. I can't remember what it is. It's one of the nicer areas. Anyhow, it was a nice Regal, and I never had been to that theater before, and it was crazy busy and crowded. And it was in 2006 is when I just moved to Atlanta, and I really didn't know driving and getting places, and I was following somebody, and it was just a mess. But anyhow, I made it. It was horrible. Anyhow, so this movie, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, is one of those movies I've seen on opening night. So luckily, it was showing at Thursday night at 8:00. So I'm calling. I talked to my niece and my nephew, and they couldn't do it. And then I'm like, I don't have any nerdy friends because the friend that I'm not friends with anymore. If you listen to the podcast the other day, no profile pic, he didn't like that kind of stuff anyhow. But then I've ended that friendship. So, not that you guys care. I know you don't care. I didn't want to call him up because I'd be going back on my word. But anyhow, and so one of my girlfriends that I hang out with sometimes, we go drinking and stuff. And so I called her. I said, "Girl, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to go to the movies. What are you doing?" And so she said, "Oh no, that ain't my thing. You're such a nerd." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, you're my one nerd friend, so I guess I'll go." Cool. I'll pick you up at 7:15. I want to get out there early. So picked her up, and so we go out to AMC. And then this big crazy storm. It's not rained like this in this area since I was a child, I don't think. And I mean, it rained for 24 hours straight. And it wasn't just, a sprinkle here and there. I mean, it rained and it was crazy. I mean, when I came home from the movie theater, I had to take like 3 or 4 different routes just to get to my house because all the streets were flooded. It was that insane. And the lightning was crazy. I'm like, I'm going to die. The lightning's going to hit a pole, and the pole's going to fall on my car, and I'm going to be crushed. And there's no real superhero to save me. I'd just be dead and electrocuted. But that didn't happen, thankfully. And so we're out there, so we get the popcorn. And why do movie theaters? It was a good price to get in. I didn't do the 3D because that wasn't necessary. But I did. What is this new 2D digital? I don't understand. They're trying to trick you with some of these names because normally the week after you can go to AMC here. After opening weekend, you can go see it during the day for $5. But I wanted to see it on the open night, and so I went. She and I. Is it she and I or her and I? We went and got a little popcorn and stuff, and it was I paid more for the popcorn than I paid and the drink than I paid for the movie itself. The popcorn and the drink was $13.75. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Good thing I'm not dating anyone. That is what? That's $50 just to go to the movie for 2 people. Because 99, that's roughly 20, and then popcorn, $13.75 each. Well, that's 27. That's $47 to go to the movies. That's ridiculous. And good thing I don't have no kids because they wouldn't have seen it. Anyhow, and so we get it. And so I asked the girl, I said, because there was two of the 2D playing and then one 3D. I said, well, put me in the one, because they're both were playing at 8 o'clock. I said, well, put me in the one that has the least amount of people. And she actually, she didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, which one is the most full? You're selling the tickets. You know how many people have bought tickets to go and which one you sent them in. So she said she put me in the least one. So we was there. It was like, it only took like 10 minutes to get up to the other side of town. And so we're getting there and it's crowded. I'm like, what? Because normally I like to sit in the very, very middle, you know, and I like to line myself up with the two speakers on the wall, the furthest speakers in the back, you know, because if you go behind the speakers, I don't think you really get the sound, right? And I like having the kind of stereo sound. You know, I'm really crazy like that, but so I like to line myself up and sit right in the middle. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that. And the only other time that I have sit on the side, you know, the side, like it's over where you come in at, like there's only two chairs, which I like because you don't have to worry about people getting up and crawling over you and stuff, which is good. But I'm one of those kind of people that I don't. Hey, Ethan McClary, how are you doing? Thank you for swinging through. I appreciate that. And guys, if you want to, you can come in and chat about if you've seen The Winter Soldier, you know, pop in the chat room, say something. Have something to say about comic books, pop in the chat room, say something. But thanks, Ethan. Thank you for swinging through. I appreciate that. And or if you're listening to, you can listen to the show also on the 5x5 blog. Soon, and I'll have a page for it on the Blurred HQ, but the 5x5.blogspot.com, or send me a tweet at the 5x5 on Twitter, and you can talk to me there. You know, Ethan said, "Good, thanks." Yeah. I like having people to talk to when I'm doing my shows. It makes it a little bit more interactive, so I appreciate that. Thank you. And so this is the first time in my life that the second time in my life that I've sat on the side with two people, and because you don't get the sound, but it was fine, I was there. But what I thought was really cool, there was a lot of people there dressed up. It wasn't really cosplay per se, but there was a lot of people dressed up they had the Captain America shirts on, and it was a father and a son. The father had like a Captain America type thing on, and his son had a little mini Captain America outfit on. He had a little shield. It was so cute, and you have girls dressed up and boys dressed up in it. So I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And thing is, and what I was saying earlier about not leaving to go use the bathroom, I don't like leaving in the middle of the movie. I stay even if I'm ready to urinate on myself. I will not leave because I think for one, it's rude to other people. For two, why you paid all this money to go in there? You're gonna miss part of it if you're running to the bathroom to use I think it's stupid. When I take my niece and my nephew to the bathroom, they seem like, I say use the bathroom, even though my niece is grown, my nephew isn't, but use the bathroom before the movie starts because I don't want you getting up disturbing me. Is that mean? Am I mean for that? And so they get up and they go like I'm like, you missed the movie. Where have you been? I don't know if they're selling Cracker Jacks or something on sale during the movie. Maybe that's something I don't know. Sit your butt down. I think that's ridiculous. So anyhow, we're there. We're in the movie, and of course they show 1,001 previews. But there were some good ones. There's some things that I want to see that I know was out. That Scarlett Johansson, who plays the Black Widow in the Avengers-esque movies, she has a movie coming out called Lucy, where it's kind of on that premise of Limitless. Remember with Bradley Cooper when he took a pill so he can use the full capacity of his brain for, I don't know, it was 24 hours or something, but she gets some kind of chemical that's inside her body, and she ends up progressing from using, I think, what they say, 10% to using 100%. So that looked really cool, but I don't know if they're going to turn her into a action flick chick, because that's the one thing about comic book movies, and there's a lot of times a lot of actors don't want to get pigeonholed into that comic book movie. But thing is, it's a paycheck, and if you're in a Marvel movie, it's a good paycheck. So this is her little offshoot. It's just she has some notoriety now because I think she's been in just about all of them. I know she was in, of course, she was in Avengers. I don't know if she was in the first Captain America, maybe not, but she was in the Iron Man movie, starting with number two. Possibly no, she might have been in three, maybe the end of one and two Avengers. Now Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is good. I think she needs that. I like her character. Only thing I don't like about I like is she doesn't have a Russian accent. I know she used it partly in the very first, well, the first Avengers movie when she was talking to somebody, but she doesn't use it now, but which is totally fine. Remember when Halle Berry tried to use an African accent uh, in the very first X-Men movie, and it lasted till about 50 to 60 minutes into the movie, and then all of a sudden was gone, and then number two, number three, she was just talking like everybody else, you know. That was hilarious. I love Halle Berry. She's going to be in the new X-Men. She's on Queen Latifah's show this week, and she looked absolutely amazing. She was 3 months pregnant while she was filming X-Men Days of Future Past, but I think we're going to get kind of that iconic scene in the graphic novel, trade paperback or whatever it is, where she's kind of harpooned by a sentinel. So I'm hoping to see that. But all these movies coming out, and I just heard today that Marvel is going to have 3 to 4 movies every year. This is what they're proposing up until 2000. I want to say 28. 14 years, they're going to have 3 to 4 Marvel movies, comic book themed movies. All right, Ethan, thanks for stopping through. It'll be on. You can come back and check it out. But thanks for swinging through, Ethan. I really do appreciate that. They're going to do 42 movies between now and 2028. So, and they've put them all out there, the ones they're going to do. But anyhow, everybody say goodnight to Ethan. Good night, Ethan. Um, and so, anyhow, to the movie. The movie starts, and I will say this, the movie started very, spoilers. The movie started out kind of slow. It was kind of slow, and I was tired anyhow. And I'm gonna say this, even though the movie was phenomenal, I enjoyed it a lot. I kind of dozed off. I was dozing off. I was getting bored because they was doing all this build up. Cause we know the character. We know Nick Fury. We know Captain America. We know the Black Widow. And I'll get to that in a minute. And so it started relatively slow because you have to do the flashbacks and you have to bring everybody up to speed. So I think what they do with the Marvel movies, which is good, if you haven't seen one before, they'll do enough in the second one or third one to bring in a new viewer or a new audience. So it's not like you have to be part of what's happened in a previous movie to know what's going on. They give you enough of the base story from a previous movie, so you can understand what's going on, so you don't feel totally lost. So, but my girlfriend that was sitting with me, she didn't know what was going on. She tried to act like she did, but she didn't. So I'm sitting down whispering in her ear. I'm like, "Well, girl, this is who this is. This is who this is, and this is why this is going on." And this is she finally told me, "Shut up, I'm following it." I'm like, "Okay, I got you. I got you." But anyhow, and so. Like I said, it was kind of slow, but we had the obligatory fill in the gap flashbacks, which was good. And if you're a comic book person, you automatically knew that Bucky Barnes was the Winter Soldier. And they dropped a few Easter eggs, and some of that I kind of agreed with. Some of that I really didn't know what was going on. And Steve Rogers is, he's a Boy Scout. He's the Superman of Marvel to me, as in what he stands for. And so we meet Sam Wilson, really early on in the movie, who ends up being Falcon. I don't know if I like how they portrayed him, but he's been being the first black superhero from 1972, the Falcon. I think he needs to be in the next Avengers movie. I think they owe the character, not the actor, because he's been tweeting that he doesn't know anything, and they're filming it right now. So I think he needs to be in it just because he's Captain America's boy now, and they're good friends in the movie. Well, they end up being good friends. But anyhow, the whole thing is Nick Fury. They're ready to release these helicarriers that are supposed to be a defensive to stop like terrorist threats and different things that can hurt the world as a whole. They're going to release these, but first they had to go. Captain America and Black Widow went to this. It was a shield, I guess. What do they call it? It was a boat, big boat. It wasn't a helicarrier. It was like a boat, and this is where we get the tie-in to Marvel's Agents of Shield. So you remember Agent Sitwell? That was one of the ones helping them look for the clairvoyant on Marvel's Agents of Shield. This is the bald head guy with the glasses, and he's an agent. So I would say the last episode of Agents of Shield, which was on Tuesday, it happens before Captain America: The Winter Soldier, continuity wise, because while he's there, a lot of stuff is going, and this probably has to do a lot with the Winter Soldier. All hell breaks loose on the show with the Deathlock. It used to be so good if Deathlock was on the show. The Deathlock character in Marvel's Agents of Shield was Sitwell is on the boat, and I'm like, oh my God, there's that guy from the television show. He's there, and so there's our Marvel Agents of Shield tie-in. And he's on the boat, and they're like, what is he doing here? And there's this guy, Bark Truck has him tied up, and they're ready to shoot people if they don't let them. I can't remember. They're doing something. So Black Widow, she's off on there doing something else. She's downloading all this Shield information for Nick Fury, and Captain America gets really, really mad. He's like, why are you doing this? He's like, you compromised the mission, blah blah blah. So they kind of get a little argument. She's like, you had your mission, I had mine, catch it, leave me alone. So they get back stateside, and I think we're back with Nick Fury, and he's talking to Alan Pierce, who runs this big Shield conglomerate, but it was Robert Redford who did a phenomenal job. Remember Robert Redford from The Great Gatsby? Remember when Robert Redford was the it dude? All the girls loved him because he was really, really attractive. He hasn't aged well, but anyhow, he so they get to Nick Fury, and he's leaving, and they have some conversations, and Nick Fury tells him, something's not right, because he couldn't get the file that Black Widow gave him. He couldn't get into it, and he said that it was encrypted by Nick Fury. So he leaves the Shield building or whatever. He's being followed by cops, and and you hear the Jarvis voice. I guess it's Paul Bettany. The Jarvis voice is in his car, and he's telling him that there's no police, and they don't know what's, because it's implying that these are not police officers, and he's telling the car, get us out of here. And so they're tearing the car up, and he's finally getting out of there. He's finally has this really cool gun that comes out of the seat, and he's shooting these bad guys or whatever, and he drives off, and then all of a sudden enters the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier comes out, blows up the what you see on the commercial, blows up the car while he's trying. Well, the Winter Soldier's going to get Nick Fury out of the car. He's burned into a hole into the ground, which they did that twice in the movie, and I don't know what they're using, but they did it twice. He gets away. He ends up in Captain America's apartment, and he gets shot again, but he gets shot this time by the Winter Soldier, and he dies. And so here's the thing with that, and it kind of upset me, because not upset me, it just kind of irritated me, because in the commercial there was a scene from the trailers that you see him telling Captain America, "I guess you're calling the shots now, Cap." And up until that point, they hadn't had that conversation. So I'm like, well, he really isn't dead. So I'm like, that kind of spoils it for viewers if you're watching the trailer. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to, pull back on my trailer watching before these movies because that kind of spoiled that for me. Not that I mind spoilers, but that surprise of him being alive, not because he's Nick Fury, but because the commercial told you, pretty much the trailer told you that he wasn't going to die if when you see the movie and the progression of the movie. So that kind of irritated me, but that's okay. Do what they do. Nobody in Marvel stays dead for long anyhow. And so he is in, they pronounce him dead and they're all upset. And so now they're talking to Captain America. They're like, why are you, what did he say? What's the last thing he said to you? And he put the little flash drive that the Black Widow had put all the information on inside a vending machine behind some bubblegum. My thing is, I'm like, that's kind of lame, but for the movie, whatever. And so now he's being followed, from the scene in the trailer. I'm not really telling you nothing you haven't seen on the trailer. From the trailer, you see him beat up all the guys in the elevator at Shield, but then he jumps out and he gets away. And then he pretty much trusts Black Widow at this point, because he goes to the hospital and she's already got the flash drive, and she's chewing gum. And she makes a lot of little comments to him about, because he's a displaced individual. He was from the 40s and we're in 2014, and he doesn't know, some of the pop culture, their universe, plus part of ours, pop culture references that she says to him. And he has a list. At the beginning of the movie, he has a list of things he needs to check out. He has Star Trek and Star Wars on there, Nirvana music, some other things. There's a website that has all the spoilers. If I can find the picture, I'll put it on my website. And so they're trying to escape, and then there's another run-in with the Winter Soldier and all the Winter Soldiers, I guess, groupies or men, or at this point we don't know who's behind everything, but they only have a few people to trust. So they do escape. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. They do escape, and they end up going to a bunker where he first got the super soldier serum. And I'm trying to make this very quick. He first got the super soldier serum, and then he realizes something's there that's not supposed to be there, and they end up in this bunker. And then what does he do? The guy that helped the Red Skull, do the test on all these men, his consciousness is in all these old data processing machines, like those big computers that took up the first computers that took up a whole room. His essence is there, and they're talking to it. Kind of cool, kind of corny. But I forget the little guy's name. He was the little like lab scientist that was helping the Red Skull, with the Tesseract. And so they do all that, and he's like, you're going to die, because SHIELD is outside and they're shooting bombs or trying to blow up him and Black Widow. But they escape once again, and then they end up at Sam's house because they have nowhere to go, and so they have to kidnap Sitwell, which then we find out he's a bad guy. Oh, and then we also found out that Hydra was in Wolverine, the second Wolverine movie, with, was her name Venom? Can't think of her name. Hydra was of course in the first movie, but in the second movie, and Wolverine in the second movie, and now we learned that Hydra has infiltrated SHIELD, and the helicarriers that they're going to put up into space is going to take out 20 million people, because the algorithm that they've written predicts from what people have, who their parents were, who they what kind of books they read, stuff they search on website. They've done an algorithm to predict what kind of person they'll be in the future. So, so 20 million people will be exterminated with a snap of a finger, with push of a button, I guess you should say, if these helicarriers go online. It's called Project Insight. And so they make when they finally get Sitwell, they get him upstairs, and he says, why they're trying to justify it. And he mentions, you don't, it's targeted on people like Stephen Strange. So that was another Easter egg that they dropped. They dropped Doctor Strange, the Doctor Strange name, which he's the Sorcerer Supreme. So I want to see how that works out, because they are working on a Doctor Strange movie. I don't know if the script is written, or if they've chosen anybody to portray Doctor Strange, but that's probably going to come sooner before later. Probably I think is it next summer or the summer after 2016 that they're going to have the Doctor Strange movie, but that's coming. And so, and Sitwell, he's the bad guy. Falcon has his wings. He wasn't a pilot of an airplane. He was a pilot of these wings that, as we know, Falcon's wings, and they're more mechanical and jet powered, but to me, his superhero part in the movie was the best that I liked. To me, it was just the best. And the wings were cool. The action sequences that he was in was cool. If he's going to be in the Avengers, I hope they eventually make them red. It might be an ultimate version of the Falcon. He is on the front cover. Last week on Fanboy Weekly, on my comic book grab, on the YouTube video, he is seen in. He's on the front cover in the movie portrayal of, it's called Survival. He's in the current movie portrayal of the Falcon wings, but he rocked. His character rocked. He has some funny one-liners. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson has funny one-liners. But when they get away and Agent Sitwell gets killed, so like I said, with the continuity with the television show and Agent Sitwell's presumed death in the movie, I don't know if so wherever they are continuity wise in the television show, we'll see what happens there, because he's dead, because he got hit by a car. But they get away and they end up, Maria Hill, she was in the first movie. She was also in the very first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But she gets him to a bunker, and of course Nick Fury is alive. At this point, I think he knows that because him and the Winter Soldier have a fight. This is before they get away. I might be getting them mixed up. I'm going to go see it again, but the gist of it, he finds out it's Bucky Barnes, and then Bucky knows that he knew the guy, and that he's being conditioned, and all these people who were Hydra, they recondition him again by I guess some kind of electro treatment or something. But Nick Fury says, you need to get these there's like these little like flashcard things and put them in the helicarrier to shut it down so you won't kill these people. So to end all, so I won't spoil the whole entire movie. They save the day, of course. They actually make it to the plane. Captain America and Bucky have this big fight on one of the helicarriers. The Falcon's wings get destroyed. So hopefully Tony Stark will give him a new set of wings. Because I think I've seen in one of the cartoon adaptations that they were kind of like they were computer generated somehow. They were digital or something. So maybe they'll use that if he's going to be portrayed in any other movies. But they do another Easter egg was when they're fighting in the street. Captain throws a shield, he catches it, and Bucky poses with the Winter Soldier poses with the shield. In the comic books, he eventually becomes the Winter Soldier. So if the gossip is true, this guy who plays, I don't know his name right now, I forget his name. He has 9 movie contract with Marvel. So that means at some point he's going to take over the Captain America name, not only in name and body too. He's going to be the character, and so I don't know what happens to Chris Evans, because he only has a 3-movie deal. So no, he had a 6-movie deal. So that would be he was in Thor: The Dark World. He was in it. I don't know. I don't know if they consider that actually a movie part or a cameo, but he was in it. Um, so I don't know. So he was in the first Captain America movie. He was in the Avengers. He had that cameo in Thor: The Dark World. Now the Winter Soldier movie. That's 4. There'll definitely be a Captain America 3. So that's 5. So what will be the 6th movie? Unless there's going to be another movie in between all those. Maybe the Doctor Strange movie, since it was put out there in the Winter Soldier movie. So who's to say? So hopefully they will keep him around, because there was a U.S. agent that looked like Captain America. I never followed Captain America in the comics. It's not one of my favorite heroes, but I did get it. Well, I'll talk about that later. So maybe he'll be U.S. agent, or he'll be another character that's in the Marvel universe, and they'll just use him and he'll surprise us. But he only had a 6-picture deal, and the Winter Soldier guy, this is his only 2nd movie, so he has 7 movies to go. So we'll see how that turns out. But end all, they did save the day, and they all went there. Nick Fury, everybody thinks he's dead. Nobody knows, except for the people who know. But S.H.I.E.L.D. thinks he's dead. Hydra, has infiltrated, so they had to expunge all the S.H.I.E.L.D. data, so they're starting new. So I don't know how this is going to affect the show, because their timelines are really, really close. So I don't know how this is going to affect the show, with that show being Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's just strange to me. Unless they're saying this happens, a year or two before where Captain America happened. It's going to be interesting. Even though I did hear kind of a spoiler about who's the clairvoyant on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think it was from some UK website. They said it's Melinda May, which I would hate that if she's the clairvoyant and she's working for somebody, and then they say she works for Hydra. We know Hydra now from Captain America, the Winter Soldier. We know Hydra is a big part of what's going wrong in S.H.I.E.L.D. So if they introduce that into the television show, will yet to be seen. But the very last scene, we do see Bucky Barnes going to the Smithsonian, and he sees his picture, and I guess so he realized because he did escape, and he did save Captain America at the end after he shot him. He did escape. They both, he did escape the clinches of Hydra, and he's out in the world, so we know he's there. And then you have the two. That Marvel's known for doing something that's after the credits, and so the first one we get is that more Hydra people have the Tesseract. I don't know if that's part. They're doing this whole Infinity Gauntlet background story that's going to be eventually maybe in the 3rd Avengers movie, the big showdown with Thanos. So they have Loki. Remember the little spear that initially killed Agent Coulson? Loki. They have his scimitar, I guess, with the gem inside of it. So that's one. They was kind of talking. I really didn't follow what was going on. But the second, maybe was that the first? There was another one at the very end, and they was talking about miracles, and then you see Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, and he's zipping back and forth in this little cell, and then you see Wanda Maximoff, which is the Scarlet Witch, which are members of the Avengers. You see her moving on. So they was kind of giving her telekinetic powers, and the Scarlet Witch her powers are based on making things happen, the improbable it's probability based powers. Things that shouldn't happen, she can make happen. But she also changed the whole world in the House of M in the comic book. If you remember that series from Marvel, and you see her as well, and then it goes off. But if you've seen some of the things online, we've seen. So they obviously escape or something, and they join up with the Avengers, because you see Wanda and Pietro Quicksilver um, filming currently in Marvel's Age of Ultron. So that's my review. It was good. It was a good movie. 1 out of 10. I would probably give it 1 to 10. I would probably give it a solid 8.75 or 9. It's up there. It's up there. Actually, and I think from a comic book adaptation, I think Thor: The Dark World was more of a comic book to me. This is a comic book movie. It had all the action. But again, when you have a character that doesn't have any real visual superpowers, it was good. So it stood out because they're saying it's the best Marvel, like written wise and story wise, that's been out thus far. Seen a really good preview for Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was really good, and supposedly there's some drama with the I guess the lead person from Divergent. She was going to play Mary Jane Watson. She actually filmed her portion of being Mary Jane Watson in this new Spider-Man, but they cut it all out because they wanted, I guess Emma Stone was the bigger, not even the bigger star, because Divergent is doing very well, is the Gwen Stacy character. They wanted to focus more on that that love story with her and Peach. They cut that all out, and so she's saying now, if there's another movie, I won't be in it. Catch it. So she's not having that. But so if you haven't seen Captain America: The Winter Soldier, it is a really, really extremely good movie. Very entertaining. If you haven't watched a comic book movie before, this is one to bring you into the genre. We're going to take a quick break because I know you guys are tired of me talking nonstop. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about first day at this area's first ever comic book and pop culture convention. It was interesting to say the least. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Dwayne Hadley from The Dwayne Hadley Show. Check out the 5x5 on Spreaker.com.
haven't played that song in a long time. I like that. Thank you guys for joining me. It is the 5x5 Fanboy Weekly Special Edition. It has to be a special edition because it's not Sunday, but you'll hear a lot more tomorrow live from the comic book convention. And then a wrap up on Sunday. And hopefully I ordered some vintage comic books on eBay and I haven't got them and I'm kind of perturbed. I ordered them on like the 27th, or last weekend, and they're just now processing and shipping. That kind of pisses me off, but oh well, I'm not going to get too upset about it. But thank you guys for joining me. Thank Ethan for joining me. I want to send out thank Ethan McCauley for joining me in the chat room. And I want to give a quick shout out to one of my friends on Twitter who was very, very nice, gave me a very nice compliment today. Gary at Cosmic Popsicle. Thank you, Gary, for checking out the show. I do appreciate that. Said I had a great podcast, and I said thank you. And he says, "Well, I thought you were very entertaining. Nice to hear a podcast from somewhere I've actually heard of." He lives kind of in the tri-state area, but. Thanks, Gary. I appreciate that. But one of the things that is going on that I actually got to attend today is our first ever comic book and pop culture convention here. Excuse me, I'm sorry. That was kind of scandalous. Here in Evansville, Indiana. And, they have Dragon Con in Atlanta. They have Wizard World comic book conventions, pop culture conventions all over, and this must be a season because there's several actually in this area that I've never heard of before. You normally hear San Diego Comic Con, Chicago Comic Con, which is at the end of the month. Louisville just had theirs last week. St. Louis Wizard World Comic Con is this weekend, but we're having one. I didn't have to drive anywhere, didn't have to fly anywhere, and today was the first day for the VIPs. So it wasn't really crowded, which was good. Everybody, like vendor wise, wasn't there. From what I talked to one of the organizers, he said artists hadn't shown up yet. One of the feature celebrities wasn't there. She wasn't coming in until tonight. So we won't get to see her until tomorrow, I guess it's today now, which I'm going. But it was good to be Evansville in the south of the city. This is, I think we have maybe 350, anywhere from 250 to 300,000 people. Although we were voted to one of the most miserable cities to live in, but that's for other reasons. There's other things going on in the city that's all crazy. So we got to meet some interesting people. Not a lot of people cosplay, but that's going on. That's going on Saturday, so I need to charge up all my devices tonight, so so I can and you can tell it was the first one. Not that I enjoyed myself. One of the organizers helped me, because I told you guys I work with the developmentally disabled community, and one of my clients wanted to go, and they made it possible for him to go. So we did that. I would do that with him tonight, so he would this afternoon, so he would be able to experience it because I've turned him into a comic book nerd, but he's a big comic book person himself. So I'm glad he got to be able to participate, and he enjoyed himself. And then I knew some people that they gave him stuff, so that was cool. That was cool. Anyhow, and so there was some confusion about some things, and I asked them for some specific times, and they just kind of looked at me. But it was good. I did know I had a friend there from high school who's part of the promotion team for it. Good to see her, and but it was good for a first venture into this, and they can only get better, because sometimes you have to go through the learning. If you haven't visited one of the bigger ones and haven't been involved, I'm sure in what it takes to plan one, because they start planning Dragon Con the day after it ends. What's going to happen next year? Just about all the hotel rooms, because it's been established for a while. They start planning that a year in advance, getting guests, and but it's kind of a big deal in the South. It's Labor Day weekend, but it's so crazy down there on Labor Day weekend because you have Black Pride, and there's something else going on during that weekend, which is a ton of people in the city, and this makes travel horrendous. But all the nerds converge on Atlanta, Georgia, which is a lot of fun. But it's too hot. It's way too hot because it's right in the thick of summer doesn't end in Atlanta till like middle of October, so it's still hot during Labor Day. Anyhow, so I went and there were some interesting things. They did have, the only thing I will say, and I wasn't, and maybe tomorrow will be different, and if it's different, I will say it's different. I'm trying to find the website so I can, oh, wait a minute, I have it right here. So I can tell you, it doesn't have the website on it. For them to have, you never know how much money they put into it or how they're organizing it. But if you want to see what I'm going to, it's pop-con.org, and you can see some of the people that are here. I did get to meet Theodis Klain, who played Big Tiny on The Walking Dead. I think season 2 when they were at the prison, and then also Mike Rotelia. He was in the Making Monsters, and I talked to him. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get some interviews, but I should have done it today, but I was kind of in a situation where I couldn't. But I should have done it today because I got a personal, I got to talk to him personally, so maybe I'll just tape some I'm gonna have to tell him that I'm taping conversations, but he was from the reality TV show Making Monsters. He said he knew Josh Whedon, that was kind of cool. And he knew the guy who was kind of an underling on Buffy the making some of the monsters for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but ended up buying the company that serviced Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And he's actually one of the judges, I forget his name, on Face Off. Talked to him, but if you see the picture on the website, he has a full-grown beard. Really nice guy, very well-spoken, crazy artist with all of his monster scary masks. Was kind of disturbing, but it was really cool. Bob Dillum, that has the Batman Tumblr. Unapproachable. I'm going to say it. Unapproachable. Well, not unapproachable from my perspective, because the 2 times that I tried to approach this person, he to me, he seemed like he wanted to be anywhere else but there. So that's fine, to each his own. But but I was a little turned off, and I was like, yeah, it wasn't. I didn't like the attitude, but hey, first day. I don't think Philo Barnhart was there. I did get to meet Snell. I'll see it in a second. Misha Tate. She will be there. She's a UFC fighter. She will be there tomorrow, and so I'll get to. I'm going to get a photo op with her because they're doing the photo ops tomorrow. Here's the event schedule. So this is for tomorrow. Event schedule, it says doors, 9 a.m. Wow. For VIP only. So I should go at 9 o'clock, right? Doors open for VIP only. Then 10 o'clock, doors open to the public. 11 a.m. Comic collecting with Tony Starks. And there's a making custom toys with Matt Wardell. Oh, they met. See, it's definitely a first because they have AM instead of P. Well, that is AM 12. They have 12 AM, so that's going to change. Oh, they're having a Misha Tate panel at 2 p.m. A Theodis Crane panel at 3 p.m. And then they're having. I might want to stay in this place all day. Because it looks like there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. They're doing... okay, I'll get my VIP picture with Misha Tate at 11. So I think, let's see. I'm going to go at... I'm trying to make my schedule for tomorrow. Ooh, they're having Batman and Batgirl. I seen that. I have pictures of you. Go to, well, it's not on my page yet. they'll eventually be on the blog. I'm sorry, the blurredhq.blogspot.com and also the 5x5.blogspot.com. But anyhow, so we're walking around. I got some stuff. And you know what? I messed up. I got water on. I paid $6 for this Walking Dead comic book that was signed by one of the creators. How sucky is that? So I had to buy another one tomorrow because this one's ruined. So if I want to resell it, if I want to resell it on eBay, I'm not gonna be able to do it because I ruined it. Um, yeah. Anyhow, so tomorrow they have an adult cosplay contest, raffle drawings at 8:30, and it's going to be ended at 9 p.m. So it gets me out of there pretty early. Um, that's 12 hours. I doubt if my niece and my nephew are going to stay out there 12 hours with me. If we get out there, I want to see Misha Tate at 2 p.m. But I want to do the whole comic collect. I want to do that. I want to see that. I don't care about the making custom toys, and then costuming panel with. Oh, but I want to see him. This guy is Colin Royster. He makes all these crazy costumes, and he had this one really. Do you remember the one thing with the big sword and the Resident Evil #2? And they're in the shower, or 3, and they're in that little shower. They're looking for somebody, and he's trying to chop them up with that big axe. He made one of those, and he was walking on. He was probably 10 feet tall on these stilts. It was crazy, but it was really good. He also does Halo. I don't know what he's doing tomorrow or today. So that was really, really cool. Um, so we'll probably take a break tomorrow, and we'll look at some different stuff. Because I want to be there for the raffle, just in case I win something. You can't miss out on free. But I need to buy batteries tomorrow. I have stuff to do, so I'm going to get up early. I need to text my niece tonight. But anyhow, the first thing is I got to buy some stuff, and then my thing is, you're here. You paid money to be a part of this event. You paid money to have a table or whatever. I need you to smile. Then we met some really cool people that had like swords and comic books, and they gave us free $5 gift certificates to their store, which is Book and Music Exchange, which I frequent quite a bit, and talked comic books with them a little bit. And then, of course, my cousin from Bailey Bot, Chris Bailey, he was there doing art, and I got a really cool Captain America key fob from his girlfriend that she was making her comic book stuff, which was really, really cool. And then a friend of my sister, somebody has asked me, everybody knows my sister. She's so popular because they all worked at Walmart at one point. She's so popular. And he says, I told myself, my cousin, because I remember him from Free Comic Book Day. If you haven't caught the Free Comic Book Day interview with Joe Field, look in the Real Talk with David and Nikki show, or just click episodes and look for it, or check it out on iHeartRadio. It's a really good interview. Free Comic Book Day is now less than 30 days away, so I need to take that day off. I got to take 27th off for WWE. I got too much stuff going on this month, guys. The next 2 months. I have too much stuff going on. And so he says, is such and such your sister? I'm like, how would you even know that? So he's probably seen me on her page, and because we look nothing alike. My sister and we look nothing alike, and she's sick. So say a little prayer for my sister. She's not feeling really good. She has bronchitis. And I was like, yes. So then he gave me a really, really cool deal on. He's a great artist. And on this Paula Deen picture that I wanted, and it was hilarious. You guys I won't tell you what it is, but you'll see it. Go to the website between now and Sunday evening, and it'll be on there because it's hilarious. It's a Paula Deen picture. And he says that Paula Deen's people are looking for him. He got a letter sent to his house. So met some interesting people that's selling like a lot of older stuff, and of course the comic book people. What else was there? cosplay. So a few cosplayers. I got Batgirl, Superman. He was a very skinny Superman, and in Batman. Took that picture. So I'll be taking a ton of pictures tomorrow on a few videos. There will be a live podcast from free comic book day from the comic book convention day 2. So I'm very proud of how it turned out. I was glad I had the opportunity to go when it's not crowded. So I don't know what the crowd is going to be tomorrow. The parking lot's not that big, and I was thinking if we go early, we'll be staying for a while, and there's food there, and you can use your credit card, but there's nowhere to sit. And I know my niece and nephew, they'll get tired of Uncle Dave and they'll want to go home. I might tell her to drive her own car, but anyhow, I think that's it for tonight, guys. So I guess mainly just look for more from the comic book convention and comic book and pop culture convention. It is for a good cause. A lot of the money is going to proceeds and to Wounded Warrior and local military families in need, and the Hadi Shriners, which are all organizations that help the needy and people in need. So that's anytime that somebody is using a genre event like this to help others, you can't go wrong. So kudos to the people who initiated and got this event, which I think they started now. Hopefully I can talk to one of the organizers tomorrow. Got this event up and running this year. Well, they start talking about the end part of last year. They got it up and running and got it to full mode today. Congratulations. I think you did a great job. Considering it is Evansville and we don't really get, it's the southern Indiana area, we don't really get that type of thing in this area. So it's pretty cool to see. The only thing I will say, this is a con started with the fanboys with comic books and who wanted to dress up. This is where to me that's where the con started, and the 2-3 local comic book stores that are in town, none were participants. I couldn't wrap my head around that. I'm like, so you're a comic book store. My thing is, even if you don't think it's going to be profitable there, and you had to spend a little money for a booth, table, whatever, that's advertisement. There's going to be a ton of people that see your stuff. I was like, oh, we can come to your store weekly and get this book, or you have this book, or just meeting people and shaking hands and being friendly and invite them, give them a 10% off coupon to come to your store, or, anything. You would think you would want to have a presence at the very first, the inaugural comic book convention. I can wrap my head around that, but to each his own. Everybody doesn't think like me, and I don't. If they did, we'd all be in some trouble, because I can be a little wacky at times. But thank you guys for listening. So look for those shows tomorrow. I can't tell you what time they'll be. The live show will just pop up here on Spreaker. I will push some of these to iHeartRadio. So all my iHeartRadio listeners, who thank you guys for listening to the show. That some of them are kind of surprising me. Who's listening to what on iHeart, and also my friend Dwayne Hadley. He was that was his little promo that he did for me. Check his show out, the Dwayne Hadley Show. Sunday, he and I will be doing, hopefully around 11 o'clock, he and I will be doing a WrestleMania show. I don't have the WWE Wrestle Network. I don't have that anymore. I did a little free trial. I didn't think it was worth it. I might pay my little $9 to watch WrestleMania Sunday night, but because I've never watched a pay-per-view wrestling match. Because before, without this, it was too for me. I couldn't justify the cost. Not that it was expensive. I just couldn't justify what they wanted. They have enough money, and Vince McMahon has $500 million. You don't need my $29.95, right? But like I said, I want I won't know what time I'm doing anything tomorrow. There will be, of course, another podcast tomorrow night. In addition to the live, hopefully, if I get enough interviews, I can have those all kind of interwoven into tomorrow's podcast. Don't forget to check out Captain America, The Winter Soldier. What else is there? Send me a tweet at the 5x5. If you're going to be at PopCon, look for me. Big black guy glasses. I'll have some kind of hat on. Check out the website, the5x5.blogspot.com or the blurredhq.blogspot.com. You guys have a great night. See you next time.